Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my beloved brothers and sisters from all over the world who are connected to me through one thread, that's your being connected to Sri Lanka as a Sri Lankan Muslim. First of all, I would like to thank World Forum for Sri Lankan Muslim for giving this opportunity for me to be able to address my brothers and sisters from all over the world, and also want to pass my heartfelt congratulations to World Forum for Sri Lankan Muslims for leading their way through the second inauguration year in delivering what's best for our community on many modalities, benefiting our younger and present generation. So congratulations and Jazakallah for your endeavors. Now, the topic given to me is Sri Lankan youth contribution to nation building. So I take it in two different ways. One is the nation building in Sri Lanka, which has its slightly different challenges to the nation building in wherever we all live in. But to be honest, what matters a lot to most of us is the nation where we live in, because our activities and our undertakings and endeavors have a direct implication in where we live in. So the contents of my discussion today should be applicable to where we live in, but I'm trying to just focus a bit more about the situation in Sri Lanka because they have very specific challenges. Now, before going there, I just need to look at the youth picture. So who are these youth and what's special about them? And why is it so important for us that the youth are empowered to build the nation? It's very important that we all know the answer to this question. So if you look at the demographic data, a good 58 to 60% of the world population are under 30 years old. So usually the youth are defined as either between 15 and 25 or 15 and 30. Just for the broader understanding, let's say anybody below 30 is a youth, because they are still settling into their life before they become an adult and do matters in an adult fashion. So if you look at 60% of the population being younger, the daily living and the impact making from political, social, financial aspect are all by most of the over 30s. The policymakers are over 30s mainly, the financial holders are over 30s, the social holders, the leaders are over 30s, everything is over 30s. So you can see there's a massive imbalance between those who have power of some sort to the one who receive that power. There's a massive imbalance between the numbers. So that tells you that there is a need for those who are under 30s to be guided and empowered correctly in order for them to become the power holders of the environment or the country or the nation they live in. It's very important we understand that need for it. And there is a very special reason why that is important and why that is a challenge. But before going into it, let's look at the picture in Sri Lanka, because usually there's a 50-50 distribution between males and female. But in Sri Lanka, female are more than men. I think it's 51% of Sri Lankan population is female and 49% of male. So that also have a big implication in our community in Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan Muslim community, because there are cultural, political, social restriction put upon on our majority population, and that restrict the forward movement of our community, which we'll come to later. So let's go back and look at the youth. So why is it so special? The youth is so special because they are intuitive, they're energetic, they're keen to change. They have got a vivacious energy, a drive, a keenness, and they are full of desire to do things, to become something. to make changes, to better themselves and the environment. So they got this drive to do this. The question is, what will they end up doing, or how would they end up doing? And this is why it's very important that we cultivate this positive energy, positivity of many forms, and channel it through a system which takes out the negatives, or which compresses the negatives, and then which harvests out the positives towards productivity and positivity of our community and also the nation we live in. It's extremely important. Now, if you look at the distribution of opportunities, remember, the talent need opportunity as a medium to come out. So if you don't have that, that is not going to happen. So what we suggest needs, what the suggestions or what the thoughts of the scholars and those who have got the insight into the youth's mind is that they need channeling, positive channeling. So that could either be that they were recognized, so you need to recognize the talents. You need to empower them in the sense that you want to get something out of what they have as a positive energy. And that need few systems. And also, you need to recognize their talents. You need to listen to them. You need to embed them into making policies which directly affects them. And you need to make sure the environment they live in and grow up and they become into gives them positiveness and also takes away discrimination. And also, very important is how they perceive the world has a big difference to what they're going to deliver into the world or the nation. This takes me to the point, very important point to mention here, which is significant, very significant in Sri Lanka, and of course very significant also in other parts of the world, is that as a Muslim, because the core aspect of being Sri Lankan Muslim is our religion determines the path we take, the moral values we hold, and the practices we undertake on our daily life, professional, social, and also financial decisions we make. But if you look at the way how our life is designed in terms of a societal creature, being a Muslim gives us guidance. So I would like to think of it as rail track. All Muslims have a rail track life style. So which means one track out of the two is purely religiously guided. So if you have the right guidance, then that track is solid. Or what you focus on is the second track, which is the financial, the professional, the social, the political influences, so whatever the path we take to endeavor our careers, that has to be corrected. So the basic of every Muslim's the life journey starts as being rightly guided Muslim with the right knowledgeable people. And the reason I'm saying to you is today's biggest challenge in Sri Lanka for a Muslim youth is the stigmatization, the discrimination on the basis that you're Muslim and you're a terrorist. This came up because of a pivotal event in history which starts from the Easter attack. Of course, there were issues before, it was building into it. The actual time where an event gave a physical turn to the way how Muslims are perceived on was the Easter attack. How did it come about? It's not a Sinhalese person or a Tamil person or whoever disguising themselves as a Muslim and doing it. No, these were misguided Muslim youth who did that. How was that possible? It's because those who guided them, the environment they got, the religious education or the concept were from crooked people, as well as that they had an agenda which fed into the global agenda of twisted Islamic, the real Islamic concept has been twisted for financial or political benefits by individuals of many sorts. So it's very important that in our community, whether you're in Sri Lanka or not, our children and our youth are guided by a qualified religious figure. So they have to be well educated, they have to be talented, and they have to cater for the need of the youth. And once that instruction, once that guidance is correctly put in place, remember, this is the responsibility of us who are the power holders, who are the decision makers of current society. It doesn't matter you're in Sri Lanka or out. So we need to make sure the environment and the education and the guidance our children and our youth get are from qualified authorities, qualified scholars, qualified imams who have the right understanding of Islam. Being a good Muslim is being a good citizen. Being a good Muslim is being a good human being. Being a good Muslim is being a good neighbor. And being a good Muslim is being a good father, good brother, same thing goes, good mother, good sister. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what your profession is. First and the foremost thing is to be a good Muslim. You got two parts. Your responsibility to the Creator, which you practice Islamic values and you practice the religion. And the second bit is your responsibility to your community, your neighbor, and your nation. This is why I always say a patriotic person, a patriotic Muslim, the other way around, a good Muslim will be a patriotic Muslim, not necessarily a nationalistic Muslim. So if you look at the political eyes, a nationalistic Muslim is questionable whether you are a good Muslim, but patriotic Muslim is always a good Muslim if he gets the Islamic side right. It's very important. So once we can solder this into our younger generation and that rail out of the two is correct, inshallah, Allah will guide our generation towards success. And what that success means, they become people who have high morals. They become people who value high values of the societies, that being considerate, contributing, and productive to the society. They will be people who will become the guides, the role models of the younger generation who need to be empowered to become the inspiration of the society and become the positive change makers. And this is possible if we provide them the opportunity, if we provide them the support, the assistance, including financial assistance, as well as we invest them the specifics of qualities, that's time, the effort, the right guidance, and of course, financial investments. And that's what will produce them, give them opportunity, give them an environment to become those who make changes in a positive direction, those who make new systems in a society, in a nation, which will build the nation. Lastly, the biggest challenge in Sri Lanka and also the countries we live in is the divisions the political system has created to keep you out of integrating. And as productive citizens of a country, doesn't matter which country we live in, we have an integral responsibility to make sure our youth is integrated with the community. So if you talk about Sri Lanka, the Muslim youths have to be inclusive. They need to be integrated into the other youth. They need to communicate. They need to realize that the success of our community is dependent on the success of the nation. It's not, okay, Muslims, we need to become this, and that's our no. The Muslim, the Tamils, the Sinhalese, the Burghers, the Malays, we all have to travel forward in Sri Lanka to build that nation back to what it was. I know there are financial challenges, economic challenges Sri Lanka is facing at the moment. The governments and the lawmakers are trying their best to patch it up and improve it. Let's not go into politics of things, but the reality of the situation is we as one community cannot survive when other communities are falling. So to build our nations, we need unity. We need to unite. To unite our youth, we need to be united. We need to harvest the unitedness, the inclusiveness, the openness, and the wider vision into our younger generation so that we bring about inclusivity in them and they see everybody, Muslim or non-Muslim, as part of your society. The good you do, spread to everybody. The guidance you do, spread to every youth. And then with the support of other role models, you know, we do all recall Markan Markar, Wapich Amerikar, Sir Razik Farid. These are the figures where in my younger time, you inspire, you want to become. And we do have new role models now. I still remember the billiard champion Laffer, and for me it was an inspiration that I want to become something of a world-renowned. So if we can produce, if you can bring our role models in the current society for them to invest some of their time and effort, or if they can spare their finances, to put into our generation to build these basics of concept of humanity, basics of concept of a country which need to come together. That's unity, inclusiveness, progressiveness, innovation, to bring about innovation, and also everything based on education and skills. So we need to focus on empowering them. Lastly, the most important thing I wanted to mention is part of the problem of our society is our sisters, our 50% of, actually 51%, the majority of our community are sisters, women. So we need to empower our younger women to become educated, skilled, professionals, insightful, and also patriotic. If we can harvest this out as a community, deriving new methods, new techniques to empower them, you can see the younger generation which comes from them will be better guided, better skilled, better educated. On top of that, they would be more suited in terms of helping the nation to build in the next 20, 30, 40 years time. So brothers and sisters, the two main points I would like to highlight here is, number one, we have to open our eyes. We need to educate our children in inclusivity. We need to educate our children in becoming patriotic, contribute to our community. We need to make our children become more wanting to become productive members of a society. Let's start it from our homes. Let's guide them from our homes, and then they would become peer models to their peers, and that would provide an environment for us to be able to work through in one direction in terms of integrating into the society and the nation we live in with, and also to contribute in all the modalities. That's politics, the finances, the economics, the professionals, education. Very, very important part is education, because education lays the foundation of progress to any country, whether it's agriculture, it is professionalism, it's politics, education does. So we need an educated, skillful community, and may Allah grant us that insight and support and guide us straight to be able to make our community a protective community towards the nation who live with. Thank you for this opportunity. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.